like the magnitude of like the coordination with the event and everything. But the third thing of why I said like, yo, we just need to make it a virtual marathon is, I'm a little on the fence of like, the popular topic, the COVID. Like, okay, if I'm gonna have all these people together, who believes in masks, who believes in vaccines, who's just like, all right, I'm chilling, I'm cool, and everything. So, like, yeah, I didn't want to
So
have.
do we get to hear like the whole day? Is there a way for us to hear like
Yeah, I have a timeline of content that I could share with you that's at least 5 hours long. I have behind the scenes footage and podcast. I even had a caller from Jamaica today
like
The
and
president.
everything. Yeah, the president
Who's the president of Jamaica?
UNIA. The president of the UNIA was on one of the conference calls with me
nice?
and everything. So, I want to
And what was
begin.
that conversation like? What was that about?
Oh my gosh, it felt like I was in some kind of, because I always keep things light. So I feel like I was in like this Coming to America simulation where like I was like really involved with this diasporic king, and I just had to make myself like worthy of how I highly felt of like the work that we try to do on a daily basis. But I'm very glad it went very productive, and that I really have it all on accord and everything. Like, I'm definitely, at least in my personalizations of my life, I'm going to do what I can to get the necessary, documents for like the UNIA. Because then it's just like, dude, like, how like in capitalism, you have a Capital One card and you can just charge it anywhere and you just run all this money up to see if you can pay it back and use it again. The UNIA is like that card for like the aim, the destiny, the God, like, and yeah, you can like really like get into self sufficiency, like then or whatever. At least, yeah, how I look at it. I think one of the most futuristic pieces of content literature that you share with me was the algorithmic bias. Do you think you can expound on, what your like witnesses like with that, and just like a little more for the stream?
So that's really important that we talk about it because it's now becoming facial recognition, like with the police and ICE, and they're even trying to do it in youth detention centers, like youth residential centers. Use facial recognition, and the harm is that it doesn't recognize our face. So what facial recognition is, and the algorithms that are used to create data about us, is a concern because the algorithms aren't created by us. The algorithms are created by capitalistic people who just want to capitalize on the people. So they create different types of experiments to see how the experiments is going to work, and then they use those algorithms to create policies about us. And that's a problem because they're making policies about us without us being at the table. They're making arrests on people based off of facial recognitions, and they're arresting the wrong people. So people's lives are being destroyed based off of facial recognition, and it's not good. So there's several organizations out there right now that's addressing this cause. Algorithm Justice League was founded by a sister, I believe her name is Joy. I can't pronounce the last name. But as a student at MIT, she had a project to do, and it had to do with facial recognition. And when she went to do the facial recognition, it didn't recognize her face until she put a white mask on. So once she put the white mask on her face, she got results. And it sparked something in her to understand that the biases that are in our societies are based off of people who don't really include everybody in our society. They don't have that ability. Their mentality is conquer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Conquer and divide the people. So they do that with experiments. So I'm planning to host a viewing on Juneteenth. At 4 p.m. And I'm going to do it Zoom to Facebook Live, because it's really important that people understand what's going on with this facial recognition technology. It's not for us. It plays against us in so many ways. So it's just one of the logarithms that play against us. But now they're creating logarithms to hire people, and the logarithms is getting it all wrong. They're only hiring males. They're not hiring females, and they're not hiring males with Afro-American names. So there's all kinds of glitches when it comes to a logarithm, because they're not created by us. There's a huge cry for us to get in the game of this data science, data mining business, because it's big business all day. It's what creates policy. People live by research, and if the research is done right, it proves right. It's a good thing. But when the research is manipulated to do what people want it to do, then it's not good at all. So logarithms play against this. The courts was trying to use a logarithm to do, I think it was some kind of way. I apologize, I just lost my head. But we fought that. We was like, no, we're not going to allow the courts to use the logarithms to say if we're returnable citizens. So it was a logarithm about recidivism, but it actually played against the recidivism. It actually made it worse. So it made it so that people wouldn't get out because of their record, and it wasn't based off of like true research. So another thing that I want to do is do surveys of us and start adding these surveys to these databases, because our voices aren't being heard, right? And whether we like it or not, these people create policies around us. We live in a country where we can live outside the laws, but the minute they feel like they want to harass us, they have the right to harass us because this is their country. And I'm kind of tired of that, but it is what it is. We haven't risen up as a people to say, fuck this government, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not really ready to go to war with this government. We like a bunch of bitches, if you ask me, because this government do what they want to do to us, you know what I'm saying? And we just sit back and take it. So, knowing that, I advocate on where we're at as a people, and the only way I can help us understand what's going on is to talk about the logarithm. The Logarithm Justice League, she shows you the experiments. They experimented on a New York Housing Authority, the projects. They never asked those people if they wanted facial recognition, right? All this time, they've been going in and out of the apartments. Now, all of a sudden, you got to be facially recognized to get inside the apartment. But they didn't do it in the Manhattan apartments or any of the other apartments. They just experimented on the low-income people, like they always do. It's always us that get experimented on, and then everybody else gets the benefit from our experiments. So I don't mean to go on and on and on, but a logarithms is very important. It's important that we start telling our stories, adding our stories to these data sets, and taking selfies of ourselves. And when we take that selfie, we got to turn it this way and turn it that way and turn it this way so that they get all of our angles, because it doesn't recognize us. The female, she did it. It made her male because she's an African American woman with locks. None of her pictures came back as a female. It all came back as a male. So it's huge discrepancies with this whole facial recognition and the algorithms. We need more of us to be data scientists. We need more of us to have a voice. I'm working with Tableau on a 15 Now project, doing the data, doing the research about Philadelphia. And the whole thing, the blacks, they always is like faded out. You don't see nothing about the black people or the Asian people. Like their numbers is zero. So you have to take those bars out of the graph so you can make the graph look prettier. What the fuck does that say? What does that say? Like you have to take the black and the Asians out of the graph just to read the graph, to make the graph look good. All of that information is manipulated. And I don't talk in colors, so I'm having a hard time with this. So I'm doing my own research and creating my own data to show them. I interviewed a young lady today about 15 an hour. She said it sucked. She still had to get a second job and wound up quitting both jobs and now going back to school so she can make more money. So I'm working on collecting our information and putting our information in various databases. There's various organizations like Black Code. There's a lot of organizations that's working to get more of us in the data business because that's where the money is. It's self-sufficient. We won't have to work for anybody. And we can take care of ourselves. Oh, I just hit the wrong page. But I can send you a list of all the groups. It's a whole bunch of groups all over the country. And Louisiana needs help. Like,
Word.
I was just on a Zoom with them. They need help big time. Like,